Pledge of allegiance.
To the flag
United States of
United
America,
States of America,
and to the
to the
republic,
republic for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under
God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty
liberty and justice for all.
please call the roll.
Councilman Kitchen,
Here,
Councilman Morrow,
Here.
Councilman Secreto,
Here.
Councilman Van Cleek,
Here and accounted for.
Supervisor Quigley.
Here. Thank you very much. Welcome to the Thursday, January 21st, 2021. We are coming to you live from Zoom and Facebook Live. So, are there any additions or changes to the agenda?
None from me.
no,
Okay. Is there anything anyone would like to talk about on the agenda?
No.
Okay. Communication, approvals of minutes. We have been presented with the minutes for the December 3rd, 2020 workshop meeting and the December 17th, 2020 town board meeting. May I have a motion to accept the minutes as presented?
I'll make that motion.
second,
I'll second that.
Okay, is there any discussion on the minutes that have been presented?
Councilman Kitchen,
yes,
Councilman Morrow,
Yes.
Councilman Secreto,
Yes.
Councilman Van Cleek,
Yes.
Supervisor Quigley.
Yes, thank you. Communications?
I have no communications tonight.
You mean nobody sent you anything this?
No one sent anything. Did they text
Okay.
or anything? No?
Okay. Mr. Van Cleek, would you please present the abstract of claims?
Okay. We did two abstracts. We did some for the end of December, and then we did some for the month of January. For the month of December, we have a total of $818,274.61. And for January, we have $745,148.83.
May I have a motion to accept the abstract as presented?
So moved.
second,
Second.
Councilman Kitchen,
yes,
Councilman Morrow,
Yes.
Councilman Secreto,
Yes.
Councilman Van Cleek,
Yes.
Supervisor Quigley.
Yes, thank you. Budget modifications will be presented at the next meeting. The department head reports will start out for the building department, Mr. Tutt.
So Casa La Vallarta restaurant has opened, only positive reviews. Sanitary infrastructure is nearing the end in Kingston Commons site, much to John's relief. Northeast Center continues interior, exterior. Spectrum Mobile is open. Central Hudson Training Facility site work started this month. Pembroke Commons has started interior renovations. Ulster Dialysis Medical Clinic has a possible opening in 4 weeks. Burlington is moving to Barnes and Noble. Five Guys is going to do a major overhaul on their location. In 2020, we issued 389 permits with a construction cost value of just shy of $63 million and fees collected in excess of $425,000. That's all.
Okay. Miranda Bernholtz for the assessor's office.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So last year we started off reorganizing and cleaning out the office files. The first part of the year we focused on catching up on the property inspections from the previous 6 months and getting the new inventory on the roll. We also had our first virtual grievance day last year that kind of went off very smoothly. So that was good. The summer we spent reviewing over 15 boxes of legal documents and finding a new system to file them for the larger commercial properties. Mary started a border project where she's reviewing every property on the border of the town of Ulster to make sure that we're including every single property that's supposed to be on the roll. She has found roughly 50 properties that we have to go over with the neighboring towns to make sure that the assessments are distributed correctly between the portion that's within their town versus what's in our town. And currently we are doing the major assessment changes for the new construction builds and larger additions for this year's roll.
Very good. Mr. Petremol, the Highway Department.
I'll make mine short. I wasn't aware that we were doing year-ending reports, but that's okay. Throughout the year, everybody had to deal with the COVID issues, just like the rest of the department heads. I think we managed that quite well. We had a lot fewer summer employees, but we were still able to maintain the properties like we have in the past. We put down almost 11,000 ton of blacktop this year. I think that's pretty unheard of throughout other municipalities. So I appreciate all the work our guys did. We took care of some major drainage improvement projects, especially in the Lakeview and Lucas Avenue areas. We still have some more projects to do, but it was a very productive year considering the circumstances that we all had to deal with it. And as Vincent, I'm sure, is going to state how we did the sewer system for the Spring Lake area, which we did part 1 and some of part 2. But other than that, appreciate all the support from the town board and supervisor, and all the support from John, and Kyle, and Vincent, and all the other departments that, as well as we work together. So that's it. Thank you.
If the town board would note, there is a motion to authorize the highway superintendent to buy some trucks at this meeting, so. Kyle, for the police department.
Good evening. I actually saw the motion for the highway department to buy 3 trucks a little late. I wish I could have snuck one in myself, but I'll let them go this month. It's been a trying year. Obviously, 2020 has been a trying year for everyone, especially for law enforcement. We embarked on policing during COVID, as well as police reform. Services were maintained throughout all of COVID pandemic. We did have several members of our workforce that have tested positive over several months. They're all back and well, but we maintained services throughout the town during that entire time, just with planning and use of part-time members. Looking at what we did last year, we're up from 2019 in calls for service, about 2.6% increase in calls for service from 2019. To about 2% increase in detective cases for 2020 versus 2019. We increased, I sent to the board members a couple of weeks ago or last week possibly, index crime reports for town of Ulster. We've seen in 2020, we've seen a 32% decrease in part 1 crimes. That includes murder, manslaughter, rape, robbery, assault, burglary, larceny, etc. With that, we've seen a 37% decrease in part 2 crimes. That includes arson, kidnappings, sex offenses, and things like that. All across the board, obviously, COVID had a lot to do with those decreases. Our larcenies complaints decreased dramatically from 2019 to 2020, which obviously changes the percentage of them. Like I said early on, we embarked on police reform. We had our first town hall last night, open public hall. Generally, I think it went pretty well. Our committee members have been very committed throughout this whole process, and they've been given some great ideas on how to make policing better in the town of Ulster. Like Frank said, obviously, we do this all with the assistance of other departments. We cannot notice the hard work and general camaraderie of the department heads and the support from the town board and town supervisor. Thank you.
Chief, I wanted to ask you, in your statistics on the call for services, that would include responses on pause violations?
Yes. Those are all calls for service.
So in other words, the increase may be from increased enforcement on COVID-related rules and regulations and not necessarily indicative of a declining public safety environment in our community.
No, it was only a slight increase, so that could allow for pause complaints. You know, we were responding to approximately, I would say, 3 to 5 pause complaints a week throughout this whole process. Some weeks more, but we kept quite busy with that.
Okay. Ms. Reeby, town clerk's report for the year.
Yeah. In 2020, the town hall and town offices had periods of closure due to COVID-19. Offices were closed to the public from March 30th to July 13th and closed once again December 1st to the present. In my office, since March closure, we have been operating with just the two of us, my deputy Lauren and I. In 2020, we issued $6,800 in refunds due to COVID for pavilion rentals and boat launch permit cancellations. In 2020, the town did not hold summer camp due to COVID, which the fees generally averaged $60,000. Even with these unexpected changes, we still processed over $550,000 in fees, which was still an increase from the prior year of $15,000. In 2020, the town board held 34 meetings, of which 20 were virtual. Some of us were already proficient with virtual meetings, but many, including myself, quickly had to learn how to use GoToMeetings and Zoom and how to host meetings. And we began hosting our meetings live on Facebook, and we developed a YouTube channel to post the meetings. Currently, yes, we are still closed to the public. My office is processing tax payments Monday through Saturday, and to date, we are about $2 million ahead of where we were at this point last year. Total collection is about $4.6 million. We're almost to the halfway point of the town collecting its portion of the warrant, which that is $14 million. We hope to collect and satisfy the town's satisfaction of the warrant within the next 2 weeks. That's all for my report.
You had mentioned to me how many resolutions and motions
Right.
were processed. Do you have that number?
Yeah, it was 333 motions and or resolutions that the town board voted on in 20.
So that's a good large number of actions that the town board initiated and completed. Thank you. Mr. Majori for the sewer department.
Good evening, everybody. Supervisor, town board. 2020 was a busy year for Ulster Sewer. First, I'd like to thank all my staff. It's been a rough year dealing with COVID and getting all of the projects we set out to be completed done. The plant performed well throughout the year with no problems to report. 2020 was the scheduled year for whole effluent toxicity testing, which happens every 5 years. We passed all 4 quarters flawlessly, showing no impact to aquatic life in the receiving water, which is a very big deal. That's how they gauge the proficiency of the treatment plant and set your limits. The collection system functioned well, and we did work to remove I&I. This work consisted of flow monitoring, pipe surveying, and repairing the problems we find. We have added some new tools to these repairs in the form of fiberglass spot repairs. This required training for the staff on this procedure and has been very effective in eliminating infiltration. We also completed the Spring Lake Sewer Project with special thanks to the Highway Department. And this is a low pressure sewer system that picks up 5 different streets in the Spring Lake area, and thousands of feet of low pressure sewer pipe were installed with all the fittings and all of the equipment to get it to the yards for the residents to connect. So far we've had, we're about 6 residents up and running at this point in Spring Lake, but we finished up in the middle of December, and it's not the most pleasant time of the year to install sewer systems. So hopefully we got an extension on that project until the end of June, which we hope to get as many as possible in the ground and up and running for the homeowners in the area that, especially a lot of them, need this service. They have failing or failed septics, and this is going to be a great benefit to the community and the environment in that area. Whittier Sewers functioning well with no problems to report, as well as Washington Ave Sewer. And that's it. Does anybody have any questions?
Thank you. Mr. Rose, on behalf of the Ulster Water Department.
Good evening, everyone. Yeah, 2020 was a strange year, but everybody at the water department is healthy. We had 448 service calls, 496 markouts, 8 water breaks. We completed all New York State Health Department required testing in all 7 districts, and we had no violations. So that was a big thing. Also, every 3 years, all 7 districts get inspected by the Ulster County Health Department, and this was the year that they did it, and 6 out of the 7 districts had no violations whatsoever. The Ulster district had a small minor violation, which was a screen on an overflow pipe, which was fixed 2 days after the inspection. And yeah, everything else, day-to-day operations, everything is going well. And yeah, any questions?
I want to take this opportunity to thank the department heads for operating in 2020 under very adverse conditions. Please convey to your employees, to the town's employees, appreciation of the town board for them doing an exemplary job under trying conditions. We were successful in completing a couple of large projects. We've also been able to keep the wheels on, so to speak, throughout the year, despite having to deal with personnel interruptions caused by COVID, lockouts, shutdowns, et cetera, et cetera. So my appreciation on behalf of the board to the employees and the department heads of the town of Ulster. Just for the benefit of the residents in the community who may be listening, I believe at the present time, there are no town employees or elected officials under quarantine. Orders from the health department for COVID-19. We've been pretty aggressive in trying to stay on top of any symptoms. We've been quick to send employees for testing. We've been quick to have employees go home if they show up at work and have a high temperature or complain of some other illness. We immediately ask them to leave for the benefit of their fellow employees, and I think that has been quite effective. Does any of the town board members have anything that they wish to add?
Thanks, guys.
Good job by everybody.
And ladies.
Okay, Suzanne, the town clerk's report for the month of December. Is there anything of note that you wish to call to the attention of the town board?
No, nothing of note for December.
With that, I ask for a motion to accept the presentation of the town clerk's monthly report for the month of December 2020.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Discussion, please.
Councilman Kitchen,
Yes.
Councilman Morrow,
Yes.
Councilman Secreto,
Yes.
Councilman Van Cleek,
Yes.
Supervisor Quigley.
Yes, thank you. Second item on our agenda tonight is a review and approval of the agreement for the expenditures of the highway monies per section 284 of the New York State Highway Law. Mr. Petremont, in this agreement, would you explain to the town board what you desire to achieve for the oncoming year?
Well, as it states, I don't have a copy in front of me, to be honest with you, but it states capital equipment that I'm expecting to order and purchase for the year. And it also lays out the blacktop work, tentative list of the blacktop work. It's all subject to change if needed, as needed. And if it does change, I'll come back to the town board for modification. But it's basically an annual financial agreement between the town board and the highway superintendent.
Are you expecting to put down 10,000 tons again?
I don't have the money for 10,000.
All right, I would like a motion to approve the agreement under section 284 for the highway superintendent. May I have a motion?
So
I'll
moved.
give second.
Any discussion? Please.
Councilman Kitchen,
Yes.
Councilman Morrow,
Yes.
Councilman Secreto,
Yes.
Councilman Van Cleek,
Yes.
Supervisor Quigley.
Yes, thank you. The next four items on our agenda are standard items that are presented annually. They are the agreements, the engagement letters between the town and the law firms that represent the town in various matters. I would like to take the four of them as a group, and I'm asking for a motion to approve the engagement letters for Russ Wadlin, for Rebecca Maloris Ledry, for Vanderwater and Vanderwater, and for Tabner, Ryan, and Kinnery.
I'll make that
So
motion.
moved.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion on any of the engagement letters?
None.
Thank you.
Councilman
Please.
Kitchen,
Yes.
Councilman Morrow,
Yes.
Councilman Secreto,
Yes.
Councilman Van Cleek,
Yes.
Supervisor Quigley.
Yes, thank you. Every 3 years, we are presented with a contract for legal services between the town and Romer Wallens Golden Minot LLP. Romer Wallens represents the town on labor matters. They represent the town during labor negotiations with the various unions, and they represent the town with the Public Employees Relations Board in Albany. So tonight is the presentation of the 3-year agreement. I'm asking for a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign the contract.
I'll make
So
the
moved.
motion.
Got a second,
Second.
please?
Councilman Kitchen,
Yes.
Councilman Morrow,
Yes.
Councilman Secreto,
Yes.
Councilman Van Cleek,
Yes.
Supervisor Quigley.
Yes, thank you. We have been recently advised that the Offices of Community Renewal, which is the agency that sponsors the grant competition that we have been successful in obtaining for the Katrine Lane and Spring Lake Phase 1 sewer projects, has issued a call for projects. Proposals and grant applications are due on March 5th in Albany. This is an accelerated schedule. This is a representation of the 2020 OCR competition, although the one project. What is noted about this round of grants is that the grant dollar amount has been increased from $750,000 to $1 million. And Mark Blauer has provided us his standard contract to prepare the grants and make the submissions to OCR and handle all the paperwork leading up to what has historically been a very successful percentage of grant awards to the town of Ulster. So may I have a motion to authorize the supervisor to sign the contract with Blauer Associates for the 2020 OCR Small Cities Competition?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion,
None.
please.
Councilman Kitchen, Kitchen? Okay. Councilman Morrow,
Yes.
Councilman Secreto,
Yes.
Councilman Van Cleef,
Yes.
Supervisor Quigley,
Yes, thank you. In a conference call last week, OCR made a modification to their program requirements for this round of grants. The town had previously made a call for a public hearing in anticipation of a round of grants. That public hearing has been determined to be unsatisfactory for the purposes of this application. So therefore, there is a advertisement in your package calling for a public hearing on February 4th, 2021 at 7:20 PM to consider applying for one or more applications through the 2020 Consolidated Funding Application process for public infrastructure, public facilities, and/or community planning. This is a requirement to obtain public input so that OCR understands and can verify that the public's opinion has been solicited for the plans that the town has put forth. So may I have a motion to authorize the public hearing?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Discussion? Please.
Councilman Kitchen,
Yes.
Councilman Morrow,
Yes.
Councilman Secreto,
Yes.
Councilman Van Cleef,
Yes.
Supervisor Quigley.
Yes, thank you. Gentlemen, in your package is a description of 3 chassis that the highway superintendent would like to purchase under the capital budget line item in the 2021 Highway Department approved budget. Mr. Petremol, is there anything you want us to know specifically about these 3 vehicles?
Just that they're gonna be replacing 3 current vehicles. One of the vehicles that we're replacing will go down to the park. And the older truck that's been at the park, which we've had a lot of problems with mechanically, will be auctioned off. Just one correction. It's not being purchased through the New York State OGS contract. It's actually being purchased through the Onondaga contract. And I think
Onondaga County.
yes, and I believe that contract number is in the sheet for the requesting the purchases.
It is.
Okay.
It's there.
Now,
Okay.
I do want to make this note. Mr. Petremol and I have had several conversations. There is a new concept of interchangeable bodies, kind of a containerized application where the bodies can be switched out throughout the year depending upon the need for the truck. So that in the wintertime, we would put a salt spreader on. In leaf season, there would be a leaf body, and during the summertime, there would be a dump body. So in effect, 3 trucks are doing the job of more than 3 vehicles. Isn't that correct?
Correct. We're gonna be getting at least 4 additional bodies, flatbed, dump body, wood chipper body, and a setup for the salt. So we'll be able to swap them out two of the trucks will be switch and goes. The other one is gonna be a straight utility body truck.
And this concept is already being utilized in other towns quite successfully, correct?
Correct. Town of Saugerties, town of Marlboro, town of Plattekill. They all have this style. So we did quite a bit of research before we made this decision to go that way. But I think it'll be beneficial for us and for all the use that we needed throughout the year.
Very good. May I have a motion authorizing the purchase?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Any more discussion? Please.
No.
Councilman Kitchen,
Yes.
Councilman Morrow,
Yes.
Councilman Secreto,
Yes.
Councilman Van Cleek,
Yes.
Supervisor Quigley.
Yes, thank you. At the beginning of the year, it is standard procedure for the town board to authorize the town clerk to go out to public bid for the purchase of chemicals to be used in the 2021 for the Town of Ulster Water Department and the Town of Ulster Sewer Department. So may I have a motion authorizing the advertisement of the public bid for chemicals?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Got it. Any discussion,
None.
please?
Councilman Kitchen,
Yes.
Councilman Morrow,
Yes.
Councilman Secreto,
Yes.
Councilman Van Cleek,
Yes.
Supervisor Quigley.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Secreto, the next item is a personnel item.
Yes, it is. It comes from behalf of our chief priority in the police department. The personnel committee met and interviewed Dominic Belcastro. The title would be a dispatcher for the police department under the general fund. It'd be a part-time position, non-competitive. Union, yes. Contract would be with the PBA. No health insurance. Step one, the wage would be $17.53. Start date would be January 25th, 2021. And the request comes from Chief Berardi of the Town of Ulster Police Department. And with that, I ask for a motion to hire Dominic Belcastro.
I'll make the
I'd be
motion.
happy to make that motion. I know
We had
Dominic very
we
well.
got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
No.
All those in, go ahead.
Councilman Kitchen,
Yes.
Councilman Morrow,
Yes.
Councilman Secreto,
Yes.
Councilman Van Cleek,
Yes.
Supervisor Quigley.
Yes, thank you. Gentlemen, the next two items on our agenda are straight presentations. This is in accordance with our legislative policy. It kicks off the initiation of the legislative process. The first item is an issue that the town board adopted town law on last year, but we didn't do it on a timely basis as related to getting it on the ballot for the general election in November of 2020. So tonight I will present local law number blank of 2021, a local law providing for the creation of the office of the town controller. This is a town law whereby the town is going to authorize a change in its structure for the town board as it relates to the financial matter, including the audit process. Since this is a change to the governance of the town, this change is required to be ratified by the voters in the town at the next general election. So we're putting this into play tonight. The second item is the presentation of a local law blank of 2021, a fill and grading law of the town of Ulster. And Mr. Tutt, if you could just explain some of the issues that you've had with the placement of fill throughout the town, and hopefully that we can institute some type of legislation that will assist you in applying some standards.
So in the past year, I've had multiple locations, some approved, some not, of people bringing in fill and cannot tell where the fill came from, Was it approved, Phil? I mean, I have one location that is approved by the DEC. They proved that to me. But the other ones, this out of town and it's brought in, it's difficult to verify. You know, is it clean fill? And I agree 100% in this proposal to help us regulate, you know, the amount of fill that's brought in, the amount of area disturbance, because as everyone knows, the majority of the town is in, you know, MS4, and that's got a serious overwatch from other agencies. So the more regulation we have, the better off we are to answer any and all questions and concerns from not only the residents, but the other regulating agencies.
Okay, so we're going to kick this legislative process off by the introduction of this law. There's no action that's needed to be taken tonight. At the next town board meeting, we will ask for a motion to set a public hearing on both of these laws that will take place at the end of February, and we'll move forward on that. That concludes the scheduled agenda for tonight. Does any member of the town board have anything that they wish to add?
Yes, I would like to also thank all the department heads and all the departments in the town, the water department, sewer department, building department, highway department, all the town employees, town clerk's office, justice courts. And just want to thank them, like you said, for the assessor's office, for their dedication this year during the COVID. And I understand how they feel, and I want to tell them thank you, because I really think they stepped up and gave 110% this year. Thank you.
Mr. Van Cleek, is there anything you want to add to Mr. Berardi's description of last night's public hearing on the police committee?
Yeah, please, I'd love to. This group that we convened last fall for the police reform and reinvention collaboration, which was mandated by the governor's office, was seen to be quite a challenge. But I have to say that up to and including last night, it's been a good experience. Last night, we conducted our first Zoom public meeting, which was intended to allow our residents of the town of Ulster to give public feedback and comment onto the draft document that this committee has come up with so far. The document's available on the town website, and I want to thank several different organizations within the town for helping get the message out about this. A lot of people did help get it out. So last night we had a Zoom meeting, never done anything this big. Kyle was at the controls, and we had, I think, over 30 people viewing the Zoom session. I was trying to count blocks on 2 screens. Of the people that, maybe 40, but I'm not sure. But I do know that of the people there, 25% of those people were from outside of our town. Many of them were just there to listen, wanted to see what we were doing. Some wanted to make a comment, but we did limit everything to comments from town residents only. We are going to look into that to see if we can allow any outside comments. We have some extenuating circumstances. There's someone that has children that go to the schools within the town of Ulster, and she asked to be able to make comments. Cases like that, we've asked them to mail in their comments or send them in writing. In the meantime, we'll see what we can do. I want to say that last night's meeting was engaging. People were easily involved. It was enlightening. We heard some things that we hadn't thought about. It was challenging. There were times when we had to be careful to listen, but I just want to thank everybody for doing a great job. And I'm encouraged. I think we all went away from that meeting, those of us on the committee, realizing that we did get some input, and we're taking steps to do what we originally thought was going to be a near impossible challenge. We have another public forum on next Thursday, the 28th, at 7 o'clock on Zoom. where the town of Ulster residents can bring comments about the draft document. So that you're all prepared, what will happen is in February, the committee will reconvene, consider the public comments, and then put together a final document that will be presented to the town board in the first meeting of March. And then will need to be worked on and acted upon so that we can show action to the state by April. We are under quite a time press here. We're doing our best to try to get this all done in a timely manner. I have nothing else. I just want to say it's so far so good, and urging input for next Thursday.
Okay, anybody have anything else? With that, I'd ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor? Aye.
Mike.
Thank you
bye.
very much, and we will see you at the workshop meeting in the first week of February. Thank you and have a good night.
Good night.
Night.
Good night.